personal thing, you know. You want to, when you're on tour, for me, it's consistency, you know. And the better the show last night, the tougher the next night is, because you just want to meet it or better it. And we spent most of the 80s trying not to sound like anyone else, you know, and not being a heavy metal band or whatever everybody else is doing, you know, or a sort of new wave pop, you know, like. And, you know, we just really tried to create our own sound, an original sound, and it's unique.
There's an impression from a company, when there's a big company behind the album, like saying you have to have the album for September and you have to, like, working out, or it doesn't happen, you just do it and whenever...
We got off that kind of thing, you know, we were doing every 18 months, we were doing our album and a tour, you know, and it's like... hold it, you know, and just get off this gravy train for a while, and, you know, and sure, it's kind of commercial suicide in some ways, but it's not artistic suicide, you know.
Where do you live right now? Because you come from Australia and you live in London, or?
Everybody but me's back in Australia now, aren't they? Yes.
Yeah, working our way
sort of all the way, worked their way back, yeah.
Back at your career after a few years, it's like, what do you look like? Which was the worst thing about becoming so huge and worldwide, and which is the best part? Does it have to do with people recognizing you, or losing part of your privacy? And
no, it's not. Yeah, it's a very complex answer, really. I mean, it depends. I mean, I think you have to enter into a whole new interpretation of how you look at life, and to keep it as unjaded and keep it as natural as possible, you know, to retain no matter what happens, you know, the money comes and goes, the charts go up and down, but who the hell are you in the end, you know? And if you're not happy with that person, then you're not really successful anyway, you know?
But at the same time, it must be hard at certain times in music history, like, for example, when Mariah Carey is #1 for a month, and she doesn't get down from #1, and you ask, how can it be? And I mean, this...
Well, it can be because the public is a weird and wonderful, fickle monster, you know. People say, hey, any advice for a young band today? And you're like, well, yeah, do you love playing music? Then just play it. Yeah. Everything from there on in is a whole new world, you know. Once you enter the domain that this much of my art's worth $2, or it's worth $100 or whatever, then you've entered into commerce.
Did you miss Australia for living as you left the country?
Yeah, I'm living in London at the moment, and I really want to, you know, I'd love to get back to Australia and get back to my family, really.
Do you miss your family when you're on tour? Because it's like long tours and...
I miss my family for an hour.
You take your children with you to a tour, or just...
No. It must be amazing, you know. It's quite exciting. It's
Yes,
a weird thing, you
dad.
know, to actually sort of get involved with what your dad does, you know, to really see it for what it is, smell it, hear it, taste it, you know. You've got to have your beliefs and do what you believe in, and be the person you want to be, you know. And that's hard to do, you know.